Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with a episode of Solo and Sold It. So this is episode 5, and we are going to go through 5 games that I have owned for a while, played solo, but for whatever reason decided it was time to go. So they're in no real particular order, although I try to save the last one as kind of a, oh, I can't believe you sold that game, that's one of my favorites sort of thing. But we'll see what you think. So the first one, number 1 on my list, is Churchill. Now, Churchill was it had a really good premise. I like the idea of the game a lot. And I think it would have worked really well as a multiplayer game. But for whatever reason, the solo game just fell flat for me. I spent a lot of time learning it. I invested time in understanding it. And I went through and I played it a couple times, but it just didn't have the excitement that I was looking for. I think it would have been really cool multiplayer, but as the solo is concerned, just not so much. So Churchill does not stay in my collection. I sold it a while ago. All right, number 2 is Clans of Caledonia. So Clans of Caledonia is a game that was awesome and it still is good. I think I just played my fill of it. I think that's really what it comes down to. I've played it 15, 16 times. I enjoyed playing it a lot. I played it solo a bunch, but after a while, sometimes they just get to a point where you've already, you've had your fun. And although there's a lot of interesting things about it. There's a kind of a push and pull aspect of how much do you put out there to invest to get your engine going versus other kind of like spread out points and things like that. It just, I guess it just got too samey after a while, and I had my fill. So Clans of Caledonia had to go eventually. Oh well, I still recommend it if you never tried it. Definitely give it a try. It was definitely good in my catalog for several years, but not forever. Okay, number 3 will be Epoch, pardon me, Early Inventors. So Epoch Early Inventors never really had a good rating, but I took a chance on it anyway. And I think the reason I let it go was it just was clunky. I just didn't find it to be all that exciting. The game itself was fine. It worked, it wasn't broken, but the solo mode, etc., just didn't have that fun aspect of it that I was hoping to get. And I just remember feeling like I had to put in a decent amount of slog to get through it. And so ultimately that was it. I had to let it fade into the history books, we'll put it that way. Okay, number 4 was Fire in the Lake. Now, I do like coin games. This was my first coin game, and it was a tough game to begin with as far as the first coin game because it was pretty darn complex. And after playing it 3 or 4 times, it was just too complex for me to not get too exhausted to be happy when it was over, not excited that I might win. It was almost like, ooh, it's done. I'm glad. All right, that's it. And I still have a couple of coin games in my collection, and I still like them, but that game was just too much. Now they've improved it, I've heard, with like a bot deck and things like that, so maybe it's better, but I wasn't going to get back into it after just being exhausted by it. So Fire in the Lake just had to go, had to fade away. And then my final one, number 5, is one that I'm really kind of surprised I didn't like more. It had all sorts of things that I would have expected it to have. It had multi-use cards, it had resource generation, it had trading and other variable actions and dice and this and that, but it just didn't do it for me. And I only played it a couple times, even though I held on to it for a while and finally parted with it, and that is Granja. Just couldn't get behind it. I played it multiplayer a few times, I played it solo a couple times, but it never spoke to me from the shelf. It never said, you got to get back into this. This is a great game. Boy, oh boy, was that fun. I don't know why not. It had the trappings, but it just didn't do it for me. And so ultimately I let it go. You could still play it on Board Game Arena. And every now and then I think about, man, maybe should I play it? And then I'm like, nah, maybe not. Just, I don't know. So it wasn't for me. I know a lot of people do like that game. And it's a classic for many folks, but not for me. So anyway, those are 5 games that have been in my collection. I played them solo for a while, but ultimately decided to sell them. So I hope this was enjoyable or informative to you. I'm interested to see what you think about the 5 games that I put in. And maybe some of them are the ones you like, and maybe some of them are ones you've played and also have parted on. So either way, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. And whatever you decide to do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.